Hello everyone, how are we all? I hope you're all very well. Welcome back to my channel and to a DIY makeover video. This is one that I never thought we would do, but I feel like it's kind of necessary. Maybe necessary is the wrong word. I'm excited for it and I feel like it will really improve our flat. So currently in our hallway, we are starting project hallway and it's a bit of a dramatic change. I mean, I'm hoping it's going to be a dramatic change. I have big plans for this space. I'm going to leave a mood board on screen so you guys can get an idea of what we've got planned. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of structural work, cosmetic work, but things are going to go on the wall. And we're just going to change it up because as you can see, it's just white and just, I mean, white's completely fine, but you guys would have seen it. It's just a bit, well, you know, the main feature for us is this glass. We love this glass. It's beautiful. It's something we wish when we move, we can kind of like somehow bring this into life in a property because it's just absolutely gorgeous. It lets so much light through, because I think without the glass it would be a really dark hallway. So there are obviously things that we can't change. Carpet has to pretty much, you know, we've got to live with that. But things that we are going to do some filling on the skirting boards. This was actually when we moved in, the movers chipped this and then Maggie decided to just add to it by having a little nibble. So we're going to fill that in with some wood filler. We're going to be changing up the artwork. So this is going to go, we're going to donate this to charity, and I've got a beautiful oil painting to go on the wall. We're going to be painting the walls. I've talked about wall colours before, but I think the paint might be getting delivered today. Unit is going to be staying the same, but we've got a rug to go down. The mirror might be changing. I'm going to an antiques market on Tuesday. So yeah, we're going to do some board and batting like a dado rail to go around. I've got all of the tools for that. So yeah, it's quite a big project. I've got a piece of furniture to show you guys that I picked up from Facebook Marketplace. So we're going to try and do it on a budget. I'm going to leave all of the costings and links to everything down below, and we'll do a final reveal at the end. It's not going to all be finished in one day. Yeah, stick with us. And yeah, here we go. Project hallway is underway.
So first off was the prep work. I used 2 textures of sandpaper and this kind of like spatula tool. It was relatively cheap and I ordered this wood filler off of Amazon. I cannot recommend it enough. It was really, really good and fairly affordable as well. So yeah, that's everything. So this is the problem area we had in our skirting board. So I started off with a little bit of the wood filler at first, just to fill in the base of the cracks. And then I applied a second layer once that had kind of dried. It was a tricky area because it was on the corner, but the end result was fab. Then it was just removing the artwork. That went off to charity, removing the screws where the art had been hung, and then just a case of using some wall filler with that tool again. It's such a handy tool, I can't recommend getting one enough.
Right, it's time to tackle the radiator cover, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't be too difficult to assemble, but given my past experience of flat pack, it's probably not going to be the best. So yeah, it does come with instructions, thank goodness. So yeah, that's gonna be my next hour, I'm gonna guess. But yeah, everything is filled in on the skirting boards. I have filled the holes where the artwork was, and I'm gonna leave those to dry for 24 hours and sand them down. So yeah, it's coming along.
I actually got Zara to help with this just because the instructions made no sense to me, but we got there in the end after a few trial and errors. It was quite a lot of pieces. I'll link this down below if you guys are interested. They had lots of different sizes. And like I say, we went for the unfinished variety just so we could add our own paint colour, but we slotted it together and it worked perfectly. I would say if you are thinking about a radiator cover, definitely consider the space that's going in, and obviously do structurally put it together the best that you can, because they can be a little bit dangerous if you don't put them on the wall.
So we have one radiator cover built and successfully installed. So happy with that. I feel like it smartens up the space so much and it fits absolutely perfectly. We are obviously going to be painting it. So I bought some wood primer, so I'm going to prime it and then paint it, and it's going to get painted in the colour of the wall that we're going to do the half. So it kind of will not be a feature, it's just going to blend in and yeah, just create a nice cosy nook. And we weren't a massive fan of the radiator, but obviously it's going to allow a lot of heat out, and I'm going to pop some foil behind the radiator as well to let the heat bounce back, so we are all covered.
So there's quite a few tools needed for a dado rail, so I'm going to go through them all now. First off, you're going to need some wood. You can choose whichever variety you like. I picked this up from a store where I'm from in the northeast just because it was cheaper, but I love the design of it. A spirit level is a must, and this one's really small. It's a picture hanging spirit level. A sharp pencil again is a great tool. I've got some wood primer from Crown, some instant wall filler, and some some no nails. These are really invaluable when you are doing wall moulding. A paintbrush is going to come in handy too for the priming. And then you're going to need a gun of sorts to apply your filler, a thin saw, and then a miter saw. This was actually from my stepdad. He found it on a building site he was working at and someone was throwing it away. So you first want to start off by measuring your wall and where you want the dado rail to go. We went for 40 centimeters from the floor. Measure from the floor, it's the most accurate way. Make a little pencil mark on the wall and then get your wood and see how that looks in comparison to your measurement. If it's too high, you can go a little bit lower or the other way around. Then measure out the distance you need and then mark it with a pencil on your wood. Double check it just to be 100% sure, because once you cut it, you can't go back. Then just using the saw at a perfect 90-degree angle, cut down the middle nice and steadily, and then give the end a bit of a sand. Measure it one last final time, although you can't go back, and that's it. You want to make sure it's 100% level. Then I just used the no nails in the gun and applied a very generous amount on the wood just to make sure that it did adhere to the wall. And then I followed the line along, making sure that it was perfectly level on either side. You want to check that not only in the middle but either side and adjust it if necessary. I actually ended up using some nails just to hold it in place, but I removed them later on. And that's it. Now for corner pieces, it's a bit more tricky because you have two pieces of wood joining together that aren't straight. So you need to measure out the indentations of the wood, and then using the thin saw, as I mentioned earlier, you want to cut out where the dado joins together. It's a bit tricky. Do be careful, mind your fingers. I actually did nick myself a little bit, but I got there in the end, and then I just placed that on the wall and then used the wall nails just to hang it in place. Right, so we're calling it a day for day one. I feel like we've made some good progress. Radiator cover has been built and installed. We have the wood panel and dado rail on this wall, the join, which took slightly longer than I anticipated on this wall, and then here. So that's good. But yeah, tomorrow's task is going to be continuing down the hallway. Okay, so I'm starting my first corner miter joint of the project. It's going to be on this corner here, so I think you just need from what my stepdad said to me, you just need to leave a little bit more of a lip on the corner so the two miter joints join together. Obviously that's the great thing, so I've got lots of offcuts, so I can use those to form the corner pieces. In fact, one of these pieces might do that corner, which is great. That is so satisfying. This piece fits here perfectly with a little bit of overlap, which is excellent news for the miter cut. I couldn't have asked for a better piece of wood. I know there are a lot of different variations on miter saws, but it's definitely worth just taking your time and planning out, because you need to obviously do the angle of the cut at 45 degrees, but also make sure that it's at the right angle, because if you cut it a different way, not at a 90-degree angle, it's quite difficult to explain. But essentially all I need to do is cut off, we're talking like about that much, the smallest amount. There we are, we have one successful miter cut. So you see it's at a slight angle. I've just used some sandpaper just to smooth off the edge. So that is good to go. There we are, that's the first part of the corner piece installed, and I've just tacked a little nail in. And then this is the miter joint saw. I've measured correctly, which I really hope I have. The issue is the walls in this apartment is, I mean, they're really old, it's a very old apartment. So I've just untacked the doorbell cable just so it can sit flush against the door frame, and then it should just slot into position there. So I will be using wood filler to fill in that tiny little gap, but yeah, really happy with that. And there we are, the miter joint is done. There is a slight gap, obviously, which is completely to be expected, so I'm gonna just grab a bit of wood filler just to fill in that tiny little gap. But yeah, really happy with how that's turned out. And this is the last piece of the puzzle. Well, nearly last piece. I'll show you where we're at, but there we are. Okay, so about 5 days has passed since I actually popped the moulding on the wall, and what I'm going to do now is use instant filler to go around all of the moulding and fill in all of the gaps just where the board is adhered to the wall. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, when we remove the nails, there will be no movement, I really hope. When you're using wall filler, it's a great idea to just apply a thin amount, because you can rub it in using your finger. If you apply too much, it just becomes a real mess. So just apply a thin amount and wipe off any excess to get a really nice smooth finish. Then it was time to mask up, so I popped one of those on because I was sanding down the skirting board filler. You obviously don't want to be breathing in that dust. Guys, I am so impressed with this wood filler. I will link it on Amazon down below. There was actually a massive crack out of here that wasn't us before we moved in, and it was right back to the red skirting board, which is really weird. And yeah, it's just perfect. I'm going to keep on sanding it just to make it nice and smooth, but absolutely amazing. Like, this side is perfect. Once that's primed and painted, good as new.
So today is the big day. We are Operation Paint today. Finally, the day has come. It's the most exciting part of the makeover because I feel like it's when the most transformation happens. So I've featured Lick before on this channel. It's actually the paint brand we use to paint my bedroom. And yeah, so these are the 2 tins. I hope we've ordered enough, but if we haven't, we can grab some more for sure. So these are the samples that arrived. I featured these previously, and there's some absolutely gorgeous colours in a whole different varieties, and this is the Lick Soho House partnership. So the 2 colours that we've gone for are these 2. So we decided to pair the purple O3, which is the Dumbo House, with the Soho Rock House. So we're going to do burgundy on the bottom and the taupe on the top. So these are the colours. Love Lick because they are obviously very environmentally conscious, which is a massive bonus. So all of their packaging is recyclable. Even the stirrers are made out of, you know, bits of wood, which is fab. Also, we need to prime the radiator cover, so that might be a job for later on. So we're going to get that primed and let that dry before we do the colour, and we're going to be doing that burgundy as well to kind of make it all tie in.
So for the primer, I went for crown, wood and undercoat primer in just a base white. So I felt like this would be the best option for the MDF radiator cover. So I used a really small roller to get a lovely smooth finish, applied that on all over the top and the sides, and then I used a smaller intricate brush for all of the detailing. I'm not gonna lie guys, this was a long process and it took a long time, but it was worth it. And then we pop the colour on the walls, and this is when the magic really happens. The transformation is incredible. This taupe colour had a beautiful pink undertone, which is really fitting of a mid-century 1920s building like ours. They used this a lot in the Art Deco era, and we felt it was reflected beautifully in this colour.
So I've just put the burgundy on the wall and also on the radiator cover. It is a bit streaky, so I'm just going to roll that over super quick. Yeah, it's coming along. Progress is slightly slow because we just took a pasta break. But I'm very much enjoying the colour. It's very nice. Okay, so we are calling it a day for today as we are losing the light. However, the progress we've made is really good. Obviously, we've kind of done like the first coat of the colour on the walls and the dado rail. So we're going to be basically frog taping that up tomorrow and then making sure that line is nice and crisp. Painted the radiator cover, going to need to do a second cover on that and do all the intricate detailing. Progress does seem slow because there's just so much to paint around, like the telephone, light switches, door frames. But yeah, all of this is done. You'll be able to see up there, we've kind of just called it a day. And then this wall is done, that dado is done. And then around the radiator, we just need to tidy that up and then the cover's gonna go over there. Okay, so it's the final day of the hallway makeover and I'm going to be popping the final touches to the hallway. All the painting is done, all the filling, all the sanding, all of the boring stuff is done. It's now time for the exciting part, which is the styling. So I'm going to be changing out some pictures and I'm going to be styling the hallway. So yeah, get ready for a nice montage.
So we actually had these prints from 2020. I got the frames from IKEA and we used a company called Snapfish just to print these off. I'll link them down below. We got these 8x8 black and white square photos. We got 6 in total just to replace the ones that we had in there. They're just some lovely memories of holidays and us with Maggie. So I just removed the tape that I'd used last time. Why I used gaffer tape, I do not know. But anyway, I just swapped out the photos, re-popped them centralized back into the frames, and then it was time to pop them on the wall. I just loved the way this turned out. I used masking tape this time just for a nice neater finish, and it was just really easy to just change out all 6. It literally took about 20 minutes and the end result was beautiful. Look how happy Maggie looks. I'm so happy with this. I use command strips. I learned last time command strips on our walls are just the way forward because you can move them around and you haven't got to damage your new nice fresh walls. So just made sure they were perfectly fixed on the wall, and then did the 6 in total. I actually had to use a nail for this oil painting because it was very heavy and the command strips just wouldn't hold it up, but that was absolutely fine. One we can make an exception with, and I love the way this looks. And then this is my hallway unit I found on Facebook Marketplace for £20. A guy was selling it in Battersea just down the road, and I love it. It's so nice, the drawers are perfect, and I'm thinking I might change out the handles. I'm not entirely sure. I quite like the black, but I actually picked up some handles recently, some little doorknobs from an antiques market. So let me know what you think. I think the gold will look lovely. But yeah, so happy with it. For 20 quid, it was half the price of what it was online. I kept the styling really simple. I didn't buy anything new for the hallway. Everything that we had was what we already had dotted around our flat, and I love shopping your home for new spaces. So this lamp was actually from Dunelm and the colour works beautifully. I just popped a little basket underneath that we actually use for our laundry, and this vase was from an antiques market I got recently. I love this candle. It's a really nice neutral scent, and I think the orange works beautifully. It's nice to have a little hallway candle going on. And then other than that, it was just putting all the finishing touches. This mirror actually is very inspired by Art Deco. It's kind of like that marine style ship, you know, coastal feel of the 1920s. It's very inspired, so I feel like it ties together beautifully. The lamp is Cox & Cox, and the little vase is H&M. We hide any unsightly things like our little Alexa with this lovely print that we made in Paris, and then this is just a little dish for our keys. The rug finishes the space off beautifully. This was an antique find as well, just from a little thrift market. And this is actually an old flower pot that we use for our umbrellas because it rains a lot. And of course, Maggie deserved a new bed too, and she was very, very happy with that, as you can see. So the hallway is done. I'm so happy with how it's turned out. It's quite a tricky space to film on camera, but from all of the pieces together, I love it. I absolutely love it. The colour isn't going to be for everyone. I'm fully aware of that. I know it's going to divide opinion, but we are so happy with it. We feel like with the gold accents and like the colour of the wood, with like the nice neutral lampshade, the greens, the olive, the vase, it kind of feels like the colour was the last thing missing. Hello, do need to give that mirror a clean. So happy with how the entranceway looks now when you walk in. The radiator is now covered, which is so good. To be honest, we are thinking about mounting it to the wall just for a bit more safety, but that is just going to be something I'm going to do after this video. I just really wanted to show you guys the finished results. Yeah, it's not wobbly or anything, it's absolutely fine. Maggie's been curled up near here and she's been nice and warm, which is good. This art piece, if you've been watching us for a while, you'll remember I got from Sunbury Antiques, and I feel like I've been holding out for it to be on the wall, and I feel like it looks gorgeous here. The gold of the frame matches beautifully with the stained glass. It's one of the favorite, it's probably my favorite thing of this whole entire flat actually. We love it. We love how much light it lets into the hallway. So yeah, just really, really happy that I got this art piece. But yeah, I'm currently stood in the kitchen to show you guys this. It's not particularly a narrow hallway. I can still walk through, absolutely no problem. From this side, you guys can get a better idea of the colour, and I'm so happy I found that unit on Facebook Marketplace. It's so good. Ideally, it would be a bit more this way to hide that plug. However, we need to have the Wi-Fi extender exposed. I had it over and covering that, and it wasn't helping with the signal strength. So yeah, but you know, it's fine. I've centralised the prints so that they are just above the hallway unit. But yeah, I just love it. I think it's came together. It's so nice. And these pictures, I love them. I'll link everything down below. Look at us from Christmas time. This was in Milan. This was us in New Year last year. And we thought we'd treat Maggie to a new dog bed because hers is way past its best. We actually washed the lining, and Zara's going to make a cushion out of it to go in the little corner. So I think that'll look lovely. Even when you see the green through the hallway leading into the living room, I just love that little peep. Oh, So happy with it, honestly, over the moon. But yes, that is the end of Project Hallway. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've learned a new skill, which I'm over the moon about. I'm enjoyed that I've, you know, learned how to apply wood to a wall. Somewhat stressful, but I'm glad I did it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. As always, everything featured will be linked down below. Big love to you all. Take care, and I'll catch you all very soon. Bye for now.